Let's face it, stress is unavoidable, and there are different levels of stress, and some of that is good for us. But the truth is we're all being affected by it, whether it be physically or mentally. And in this podcast, we're going to share 3 rules for living a low stress life, because it's really hard to go after your goals or live a joyful life if you're constantly being affected negatively by stress. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place, because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. I know this topic is going to be hot. So many people are like stressed out about all the stupid shit. So in this video, we're going to teach you some simple techniques on how to handle that stress, because listen, life happens. And when you have those tools within you, it becomes so much easier to keep your stress at a low when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, it's incredible now. We live in such a time, back in the day, the thing that really killed off people were diseases. You had animals, famine, droughts, things like that. And so often now in the world that we live in, it's stress. It's stress that really knocks us down. It's stress that keeps us from doing really amazing things. It's stress that keeps us worried. It's stress that keeps us anxious. And so having these 3 rules is something that you can come back to and go, which one of these am I not doing right now? They're so simple, and they're going to help a ton.
So take a moment to tune in. Let us know if you're watching live, where you're watching from, and do you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed out are you? 1 being like, not at all, super chill, life is good, and 10 being like, ah! Let us know in the comments below how stressed out you are on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's dive in.
Yeah, the first thing that you want to do, the first rule is to simplify. So many of us have too many decisions to make per day. Just like one of the things that I always love doing is I like eating the same breakfast and lunches. That takes out 2 decisions from my day every single day. And so in that way, I save time. I have more ways to automate the tasks that I know are going to be habitual. You can get your groceries now delivered. You can get other people to do things that you necessarily don't have time to do. So always be narrowing down. You only have so much time in the day. That's the one constant with all of us. We've got the same 24 hours. And so often we take on so much extra burden. We're like, oh, we can get it all done. We'll do all this. And you can't. That's the big secret. You can't. The bigger business that you have, the bigger business or relationship that you want to have, the more time you want to spend with your kids means you've got to eliminate. So what in your life can you right now just cut out? You said, I'm not going to be the one to do it, or I'm going to let somebody else do that.
Delete it or delegate it. But we've got to start letting go of some of the heavy to-dos. And that list goes on and on. So can you start cutting some of those things out? And like Chris said, simplify by ordering groceries or hiring a housekeeper or whatever it is you need to lighten the load. Give yourself permission to do that, because you deserve the help, and other people do want to support you. But if you don't ask, you'll never know. Julia says she so needed this week. She's at a stress level 6. Okay. So the second thing that you can do is you can let the small shit go. My mom's famous quote is, "Let it go, Louie." And I never really got that. She would always tell me that. And of course, when you're in high school and it's drama and you think it's going to affect you for the rest of your life, it's so bad. Chris taught me this amazing technique that we're going to share with you today. If it doesn't matter in 5 years, do not waste more than 5 minutes on it. It's just not that important. It shouldn't eat up your creative time, your energy, your good vibes, especially if it's some junk. You know what I mean? So if it doesn't matter in 5 years, stop wasting your precious life force energy, your creativity on stuff that really doesn't concern you. Because if you can't change it, then you have to accept it. You get one of two options.
Yeah, I love this. And the reason why this works so well is because often what we try to do is run away from painful or worry thoughts or negative thoughts. We don't express them. And so really what we do is we just tuck them down and we say, oh no, I've let that go. And we use letting go as a way of tucking it away. This is not about letting it go. This is about spending 5 hell minutes on whatever it is that's bothering you. Feel it, scream it out, yell it, whatever it is that you need to do, let that thing out and really exercise it. Recognize, I'm pissed off. This is wrong. I don't like this in my life, and go into it. But as soon as those 5 minutes are up, be like, oh, I've gone through that. Now let's go on and do what I'm supposed to be doing in my life instead of spending all that time worrying. This will take so much stress out of your life if you allow yourself to let the things go that don't matter, but recognize and honor the fact that they do matter for you in that moment.
Our friend Adam over at Shamanic Philosophy says 5 or above, which actually leads us to the third tip. And we're kind of elevated over here. Chris is even talking about raising up the bar, but this is our philosophy that we live by. This is what the elevated life was founded on, is our rule, the 7 or above. We're going to write a book one day. Promise, it's coming, and it's going to be called 7 or above. And it's all the principles that we implement in our life to set boundaries, to say no when we mean no, to not feel guilty when we say no, to cut out the bullshit and the drama and the toxic people in our life. It's this simple principle, 7 or above. I'm going to share how that works.
Yeah, you just, anything you're thinking about doing, or anytime someone asks you, hey, do you want to do this? Or you're considering a new option, or literally anything, you're going to pick this meal off the menu, whatever it may be, you ask yourself, on a scale from 1 to 10, how does this really sit with me? How do I feel about this? And if it is not at least a 7, if it's not at least a 7 or above, you automatically say no. Automatically. Delegate to somebody else. Eliminate it from your life. Just you don't involve yourself. Obviously, sometimes you're going to have to do a few things that are down there that you don't love doing because it gets you to a place where you're doing something that's a 7 or above, and honor those moments and trust in that process. But you've got to start eliminating the things that don't matter in your life. The things where you're like, why do I do this every year? Like, why am I going and hanging out with this person I don't really enjoy? I know they're going to drain the hell out of me. Like, why would I even do that? If that's the feeling that you have, if you're going into circumstances and situations in your life and thinking, I don't want to do this, life's too short. Life's too short. Follow that 7 or above rule. That's why these 3 rules are really, really simple. So if you come back and just ask yourself, is this right for me? Is this a 7 or above? It simplifies so much of the decision process, and never feel guilty about it. Realize that you've set a specific bar and a standard in your life, and you live by that. Tell your friends, tell your family, hey, this is what I'm doing from now on. Just want to let you guys give you a heads up. BRIT is awesome at this. I've seen people and family members.
People know if they're not a 7 because I don't show up. They're like, am I not a 7 this week? Like, no, not today.
Yeah, you really got to honor yourself. And this gives you, once you start being okay with saying no, which is a big part of this process, you start being able to care for yourself. You really, and you show that to people, they stop asking you to do things that they know you wouldn't do, but that you would feel guilty for. And so you do anyways. All that starts to get erased from your life, and people really start to appreciate the time that you do spend with them. It becomes valuable time because they know that it's short. Like, as you get busier in life, as a kid, I had so much time. A friend called up, say, hey, you want to hang out tonight? Yeah, I'm not doing anything. But now, like, life is so much busier with businesses, with all the things that we're doing. And so we have to constantly be simplifying and cutting back on things. So all the encounters and all the things that we do in our life, we want to be 150% there. We want it to be like, oh, like you want to show up. Like, I'm trying to get there as fast as possible because that's exactly where I want to be. So all things need to start being like that in your life. Otherwise, you're just sort of, walking around under a rain cloud of your own choosing.
Julia is one of our elevators, and she says the 7 or above rule, so true. I live by it. Inside our membership club, this is the principle that we always go back on. No matter what category in life we're talking about, you really want to begin to ask yourself, is this in alignment with my integrity, my beliefs, and what I stand for? And if the answer is no, you have the freedom and the choice to choose again or try something different. Julia says she needs to eliminate the workload at her job and start meal prepping instead of grabbing something quick.
Meal prep
is our secret. Yeah, it's our secret weapon to success, honestly, because if we didn't meal prep, like, I wouldn't eat and Chris would go crazy because he is like, I need food.
Yeah.
And I'd just go forever and just work and work and work. So when we meal prep, it gives us that space and that freedom to actually take a better balance and step away from our business. So we're not like, oh shit, I have to make all this food and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do it. So you skip it, right? And then you grab something quick. Once it's already pre-prepped, you know that you can take time to go, heat it up, do whatever you got to do, and sit down together or by yourself or whatever your routine is, and actually enjoy your lunch instead of just grabbing it on the go.
Yeah, at a minimum, just prep lunch for a week, because a lot of people like meal prepping sounds overwhelming. You're going to prep every single meal, every single snack. That's overwhelming. Just prep one thing or just prep two things.
Yeah.
Make it really easy.
Yeah, start with like your lunches or, just to get into the routine and the habit.
Having a pre-prep lunch where we're in the throes of doing work stuff and we're in that creative mode, just to be able to not think about food, to walk in, grab what we've already prepared and eat it. That's so good to do.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your mental creative energy throughout the day on small decisions like, what am I going to have for lunch? It's just a waste of brain power. Stacy says, how do you work out who or what is a 7? Oh, this is the fun part. This is where you get to decide what feels authentic, what feels good for you, because what a 7 to me might be a 4 to you, or vice versa, because it's really what's about, authentic to you, what's in alignment with your integrity. This one over here is saying we should do the 9 or above rule. I'm like, dude, we would just never leave our house, honestly. So, you get to decide what that looks like for you. And over time, it'll change because certain, let's say certain family members fall below a 7 at this point in your life, but maybe they change their game and they like clean up their act and like think positive and, shine a little bit brighter, and you move them over to the 7 or above category.
Yeah, and that's the best part when that happens, because sometimes when you use the 7 or above rule, it can be a massive cutout of certain things in your life. But what ends up happening is so often those people that you cut out for a little bit, because everyone worries, well, if I do this, then, I'm not going to have the same friends anymore, and it's going to be bad. I can't just ditch my friends and those kind of things. Sometimes you need to. And sometimes you need to do it for them because they need some extra growth. They need to find a new person, someone to give them ideas and things like that. So you've got to decide that I am okay to do this. Those people come back around and they always enter your life up leveled. Yeah. It is amazing. This has happened so many times for us. When our friends come back into their lives, it's like they hit a huge turning point. And the turning point sometimes was that we left the relationship. They had to go through some sort of hard moments to really have that catalyst for change, because sometimes that's what it takes. And so don't feel guilty about doing that. Like a lot of times they come back and they come back stronger and it's beautiful and everything just kind of picks up back where it was, but in a new graceful way.
Yeah, in a much more elevated way.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, you guys are showering us with love. Thank you so much. Marcy says, thank you for showing up for us. Thank you for showing up every day. TEL is a 10. TEL is a 10. TEL is a million.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. We love supporting you. Anne says, I need to put this rule into my business and be open to below 7 items to be delegated. Yes.
And clients.
I was just going to say, I have a very hardcore rule about 7 or above clients. And within the first appointment, I know, and you all intuitively know, does this feel good to me or not? And if the answer is not a hell yes, then it's most likely below a 7. You know what I'm saying? So be willing and have the courage to let go of the things that are holding you back and limiting you from really reaching your full potential. It's so important to ask for help and to be willing to let go of the small stuff, Any other questions that are coming up for you this week? We love being able to guide you and coach you through these issues, and stress is literally the number one killer, and it's a choice. Whether you realize that or not, stress is a choice. Yes, shitty things happen in life, but it is how you respond or react. And when you react, you're going to live a very stressful life. But when you take a moment to say, okay, how is this, how do I feel? Let me process this. And then you take that moment to give yourself grace to respond.
Yeah, that's so much about what mindfulness is about. It's about not being in any kind of reactive mode. It's about realizing that you're the decision maker in your life. And that's the way it is, especially as an adult. So many of us, look for so long to our parents or to our teachers or to our bosses to make all the decisions. And so that when we have to actually get out and make decisions for ourselves, it feels weird. That's the best part about life, is being able to choose and make those decisions so that you can mold your own life in the way that you see fit. Like, that's the joy of life, is to be able to say, look, I'm not doing that stuff anymore. I'm really going to rise up to this level now and start doing just these things because I know these will be beneficial and I know these matter to me.
Yeah, this is your life and you get to decide how you want to experience it. So make sure you're choosing an elevated life. Thank you so much for tuning in every Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on the Elevated Life series. Thank you so much. Oh, one more question. Stacy says, do you have a grid or a table to suggest what is a 1-2? Stacy, get out of your brain and get into your heart and just say, does this feel good? What are you, a Virgo over there? I had Virgos taking notes at the Goddess Gathering last night. I was like, come on, Virgos.
I love you, Virgos.
We love you. We love all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life series. We'll catch you guys next week, or we'll see you inside the membership club on the daily. Peace. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.